Okay, so let's talk about problem solving. Why problem solving? If you're talking to a customer, they want something from you. They have kind of an idea of what they want, but that's usually kind of a problem for them, right? They want to have a new software with which they can do something. So they have this problem that they need this software to help them. And you as a software engineer are now responsible to solve this problem. So what do you need for that? I think one main thing is really what we talked about already, is creativity. You need to be able to think and create new things, to have new ideas. And also, of course, intelligence. Well, you need to understand their problem. Not your problem, their problem. What do they want? How can you help them? You need to develop a domain expertise in their field to understand it. So you need to be able to think creatively. You need to abstract. Abstract is one thing that we'll talk about a lot in this class, because we use diagrams and different levels of abstractions. And you need these different levels of abstraction to talk with different stakeholders, with customer, with team members, with management, and so forth. And you need the ability to think in an abstract way. Logic, we're talking software or engineer. You need logic, you need math. Logic, algorithm, and software engineering. It's basically all logic, right? If you're writing an algorithm, shortest path, things like that, it's all logic. You need to analyze the problem the customer has, analyze solutions ideas you have, analyze what you need to do, how you can design, what process you use and will use and need. Decision making. You as a software engineer will need to make decisions. You need to be able to see dependencies between different things in your project. You need to realize what is important and also what is not important, what is outside of your scope, what don't you have to worry about, and what do you have to worry about, what are the main features. Flexibility, you need to be flexible, you need to be able to adjust to make your decision. Now, when you're making decisions, it might be that you're saying, okay, my decision or my idea was wrong, somebody else's idea is the right one. You need to be flexible, you might need to change things as your responsibility. And handling of failure. Your solution might not be the right one. Maybe you're choosing the right, you're choosing a wrong design or the idea. It happens to everyone. I think the main part is learn from it and do better next time. Everyone fails, right? This is just the nature of things. You need to make decisions, you need to decide things, and you will need to do that in your assignments here. You will need to decide if something is important, if it belongs in your model or not. You will need to decide that. You might need to change things. You might get a bad grade on something because something went wrong. Learn from it, apply it in your project correctly. This is what this is all about. So, basic approach when you're thinking about design. Define your goal. So, the overall goal for your project and maybe part goals that you want to reach. Why do you need that? If you don't have a goal, you don't know when you reached it. Okay, so if you don't have something where you want to go, you don't know if you're there yet. So you can get stuck and trying to do more and more and more because you can't say we are done. Set boundaries and preconditions. Basically say what is inside of your system, what is in your scope, and what is not. If it's not in your scope, you don't need it in your design. Maybe something is a precondition you can assume for your system. Maybe you don't have any. Maybe you do have a lot and you need to figure out how you put your things, your ideas into these preconditions. Get rid of prejudice. Again, creativity. Think outside the box. Try to think of things, of new things. Don't just reuse. I mean, reusing is not a bad thing. If you can reuse something that has been used for a long time, is tested and everything, of course that makes sense. But especially in the creative approach at the beginning of a project, try to be creative. Don't think of what is there and what you know. Try to think of new ways. Later on, you might adapt and go back to something that is well known. But at the beginning, try to think of new solutions. Evaluate. Now you have ideas. Now you have a set of ideas and creative ways to do something. Now you need to evaluate, does it meet the goal? Can we use them? Does it work? And then you need to decide, is the goal met, or do we need to go through another iteration? Do we need to improve? This is basically an approach we will use to get to a good design. There will probably be iterations. If there are no iterations, this will probably be pretty weird, because there are usually some. Usually you go back and rethink something that you have done up here. So this is an approach for basically idea generation and choosing an idea, and then what your design will be based on.